कि क्या उसमें है, थोड़े बहुत डिफरेंसेस वगैरह वो देखे थे सी से। तो इस वीक में हम उसमें डिफरेंट एप्लीकेशंस देखेंगे जावा स्क्रिप्ट की, उसको अप्लाई किस किस तरह कर सकते हैं, कहाँ कहाँ कर सकते हैं। सो दिस इज बेसिक थीम of this week lectures. So let's start with the business. Okay, so it is lecture 22 and JavaScript HTML DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. So basically what we try to do with JavaScript is that we try to manipulate the HTML document. And a document which is saved with .html or .html extension, we call it HTML file or HTML document. This HTML document has a typical structure. As you know, in the at the root there is a tag HTML. Then at level 2 there are two tags. One is head and other body, and then the whole structure is built. So the whole HTML document is a hierarchical structure. That's why with hierarchical document manipulation techniques, we can manipulate any HTML document. Okay, these are some of the outlines as you can see, and these are different applications of JavaScript. Okay, let me start with the introduction. With HTML DOM, that is Document Object Model, JavaScript can access, change all elements of HTML document. And let's see the basic idea of the structure. You can see basic structure on the right side. You can see basic textual structure of HTML document. There is an HTML tag in the root, and then there at level 2 there is a head tag and there is a body tag, and generally title is one of the tag which is placed in head, and there are few more tags like meta information or various other encoding techniques. Those are placed in heads. Generally, sometimes we can also place JavaScript code in head as well. We can place it in body, but we can also place it in head tag. And if we see the body, again, the whole structure which is visible to the user, that is placed in the body. Now, the same textual document can be graphically also depicted, and the graphical depiction of this particular textual file is on the left side. You can see the root element is HTML, then there is a head element and a body element. Within head element there is a child title element, as you can see here, and title has a text, my title, as you can see here. If you go towards the body tag, you will find there is an H1 heading, and it has a text, my header, and there is also a element with blank H reference, and there is a its this text is my link. So both the right side textual depiction and left side depiction, these both are equivalent. Any question on this slide? These both are equivalent. चलें आगे फिर. I hope there is no complication in it. Okay, with object model, the JavaScript gets all the power it needs to create dynamic HTML. JavaScript can change all HTML elements in a page. Moreover, JavaScript can change all HTML attributes in the page. अब attributes जो होते हैं वो हर element के अंदर हो सकते हैं, एक या एक से ज़्यादा, तो आप उन attributes को भी change कर सकते हैं. Then with JavaScript you can change CSS styles in the page, and then with JavaScript you can remove existing HTML elements and attributes. Then with JavaScript you can add HTML elements and attributes. Remove भी कर सकते हैं और नए elements add भी कर सकते हैं. JavaScript can react to all existing HTML events in the page. For example, mouse click is an example of an event. Similarly, there are numerous events which trigger once we are working or viewing a page, starting from the loading till closing of any HTML page. Then JavaScript can create new HTML events in a page. So we can also create new HTML events. Any question on this slide? What is DOM? DOM defines a standard for accessing document. The W3C DOM is a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, its structure and style of a document. So you can do anything which you can think of. But this DOM has also been standardized because of the reason that all the browsers should implement it in a similar fashion. That's why it has been standardized. And it has also helped in standardization of JavaScript. The WC3 DOM standard is separated in three different parts. The first one is called Core DOM. That is standard model for all document types. Then XML DOM. And third one is HTML DOM. So the focus of today's lecture is on HTML DOM because we need to learn how to manipulate HTML documents with JavaScript. Any question on this slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. The HTML DOM. Now coming on to specifically on HTML DOM. HTML DOM is a standard object model and programming interface for HTML. It defines HTML elements as objects. यानी जो भी एलिमेंट है H1 है H2 है हर एलिमेंट समझे आप एक तरह का ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट हो रहा होता है. The properties of all HTML elements, methods to access HTML elements and events for all HTML elements. In other words, the HTML DOM is a standard for how to get, change, add or delete HTML elements. So this is what we are talking from previous few slides, that we can do anything. Okay, now DOM programming interface. In DOM, all HTML elements are defined as objects as mentioned in the previous slide. The programming interface is the properties and methods. यानी जब प्रोग्रामिंग इंटरफेस की आप बात करते हैं तो दो तरह के आपको चीज़ें मिलती हैं. वन इज अ कैटेगरी ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज एंड अदर वन इज कैटेगरी ऑफ मेथड्स. एंड प्रॉपर्टी इज अ वैल्यू दैट यू कैन गेट और सेट, like changing content of HTML element. And on the other hand, a method is an action you can do, like add, delete any HTML element. Okay, let's see the first example. You're already familiar with this example because we are using a property in our HTML, and we are changing its property, which replacing its property or providing the text, or we are changing the property of inner HTML with the text hello world. And what is going to happen, that this statement is going to put the text of P element as hello world, that you can see here. Basically it has been inserted as a text of P element, that is paragraph element. In this example, get element by id is a method. So in this particular example, get element by id with parenthesis, it is a method, and inner HTML is a property. So this inner HTML is a property. So we can straight away set a property. Okay, so it was a familiar example. Now HTML DOM document object is owner of all other objects in web page. Okay, HTML DOM document object represents your web page. If you want to access any element in an HTML page, you always start with accessing the document object. As I gave you an example in previous lectures as well, that for example, this is it's one of the document. Let me open it in Chrome. If I go to source, and I try to write here in the console as document, so this document is containing all the other elements. HTML is the root element, this is head, and another one is body, and we can keep on expanding it. So this is what we are saying. If I have to access anything like head tag or body tag, I have to start from the document. I can write document and then dot and then and so on. So our start point for the root is document to access any HTML element. In next section, we are going to see examples. Okay. This page teaches you how to find and access HTML element in an HTML page. These are a few important methods. You are familiar with the first one, that is get element by ID. And whatever ID we give to any particular element, we can fetch an element having that ID. Two other important methods are for finding the elements in a document. This one is get element by tag name. Tag name means the name of the tag, that is h1, h2, p, div. These are tags. So if I put some, for example, p, so it is going to return a collection of all the p's which are available in the document. Similarly, you have learned classes in CSS, and we can assign any class to one or more HTML elements. So if we try to find something with a class name, so all those elements, HTML elements which have the particular class which is placed here, those a collection of those all elements is going to be returned. Let's see examples. The first example in which with which you are familiar, you can see there is a statement get element by id demo, and demo is here. P has an id of demo and dot inner html and is equal to, now after is equal to there is a string. The whole string will be prepared, and then whole string will, the content of the whole string will be assigned to the p tag. P tag, for example, what are we assigning? We are assigning this one. The text from intro paragraph is hello world. First of all, there is a string, then we are concatenate it with my html dot inner html. And what is my element? You can see it is document dot get element by id intro. So where is intro? This is the top one is an intro. This is a p tag with intro. It has hello world. So what will happen? Hello world is going to be concatenated with this string. So we get the text from intro paragraph is hello world. Any confusion on this slide? Or it's okay? We have seen many examples of using get element by id. It is again one of the example which you are already familiar. Okay, let's go to the other method, that is finding HTML elements by tag name. So here you will find the method that is get element by tag name. So here what are we doing here? First of all, look at the first statement. It is saying document dot get element by id main. So we are fetching the main is basically div. Tag will be returned to x variable. Now it has two child paragraphs. These are basically childs of div. So now we are going to extract the in child paragraphs of the div tag. So what are we doing with the same? We are providing another method x dot. This is x dot get element by id p. So what will happen? It is going to return both the p paragraphs as a collection to variable y, because there are two p. If they would, all the three would have been returning. The point is that a collection will be returned. It means whenever there is a collection, it means that you can iterate through a collection. You can fetch specific element by through index numbers. So you can see we are trying to fetch the first paragraph, and first paragraph would be on index 0. So we are writing here the first paragraph, that is index 0 inside main is y0. So here you can see y is an array, and zeroth element will be first p. If we write here 1, then we are going to fetch the second p paragraph. And then its inner tag. So if we pick the first one, its inner tag is the DOM is very useful. The same, this statement is going to be assigned to the uh, get element by demo. So it is going to be assigned to the bottom p. Here you can see the bottom, the P at the bottom, it does not have at a moment any text. This text, the whole prepared string, that is the first paragraph, index 0 inside main is DOM, is very useful. This is going to assign the last paragraph with this statement. Any question on this slide?
No, sir.
Okay, it's okay. Let's see the third example, that is accessing elements by class name. Here you can see there are two paragraphs. Both have been assigned a class intro. The first P and the second P with the class intro. So it means that if here if I write get element by ID demo, so I am going to fetch this P and I am going to changing its inner HTML, and here you will see there is x0.html. So how we get what is x? X is a document dot get element by class name, and once we will write intro, both paragraph with having class name intro are going to be returned. So x variable will have two elements, one at index 0 and other one at index 1, and we are with this statement x0 dot inner html, we are going to fetch the first paragraph of the first text of the first paragraph, and that is going to be assigned to the bottom P, and you can see that it is DOM is very useful, has been placed with this statement and written at the bottom. The first paragraph with blah blah, the DOM is very useful. Any question on this slide?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's move forward. We can use another method. It is called query selector. These are two. There are two methods. One is called query selector, and other one is called query selector all. So all is going to return a collection. So here you can see that there are p element. There are two p elements with class intro. It means that if you want to fetch those p elements which have intro class, then we can straight away narrow down with this statement that is written in a query selector all, that is p dot intro. It means that p is HTML tag and intro is the class of p. So both p's with intro are going to be returned, and they will come in x, and then we, as an example, we are fetching the first element with x0 dot inner HTML. So this is the fourth example, and the method is query selector all. Okay, one odd method I have left. One odd method. Please see it yourself. Coming on to second section, that is JavaScript HTML DOM changing elements. Now, if you want to change the elements, originally there was some other element, and now we want to change it. So, what can we do? HTML DOM allows JavaScript to change content of HTML element. So, there are few properties which can be used. So, properties don't have the brackets or parentheses at the end. So it is inner HTML. You are already familiar. It's a property. We just provide After is equal to, we provide new string, and gets assigned to inner HTML. The second one is element dot attribute, and third one is element dot style dot property. So with the first one, we can change the inner HTML element of an element. With the second one, we can change attribute value of HTML element, and with the third one, style dot property, we can change style of an HTML element. Then there is a method which can do the same thing, element dot attribute or element dot set attribute. This is a method, but we have to pass some values there. So let's see a few examples of these, how to change it. Let's see the first example, that is changing HTML content. The easiest way to modify content of an HTML element by using inner HTML. HTML, again, you are familiar with inner HTML style, so we move forward. Here we are changing the attribute value, and the tag is image. If you see the image tag, image, ID image, source, smiley, GIF, width 160, height 120. So this image tag has 4 attributes. I hope you can see all the 4 attributes. The first one is ID, second one source, third one width, and fourth one height. Now we can change any of the attribute. Let's pick the source attribute, and we are going to change its value. Originally its value is smiley.gif, and we are going to assign it a different GIF. So how we are going to write our code? We are saying document.get element by ID image. So its ID is image. Then we write dot source, and then we assign it a new picture, that is landscape JPG. So with this, previous picture will be removed with a, or will be replaced by the new picture. The original was having a GIF extension, and it had this, the new one has JPG extension. Any question on this code? ठीक है, आगे चलें.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Changing HTML style. So here you can see these 3 statements: document.get element by ID p2, and style dot color is equal to blue. So the color of p2 text is going to be changed with a blue color, as you can see on the right side. The hello world is in a blue shade. Any question on this slide? Okay, so let's move to the next slide. JavaScript DOM animation. We can create an animation container. Let's see, we are creating a container with a div tag. We are giving it an ID container. We can give it any ID, no issues, but just for our understanding, we have given it name of container. Within this div we are creating a child div, and we are going to do some animation. Okay, this is an animation. What are we going to do with it? Okay, this is a page. You can see its source code is also available, and let me click the button once more. So what is happening here? The x and y position of the internal square are changing at a constant speed or constant interval, and because of the changing positions, the red box is animated. So let's have a look on its code. Okay, first of all, you can see that we are creating a block with a container block, and it has some styles: width, height, position, background, and another one is animate block, and it is part of the internal style sheet. So now we can assign this style to any HTML element. So let's see. Here you can see a div ID container, and the container, this is the ID, and we are assigning this ID to a container. So it will get this style, and the child div has the idea of animate, so it will have its style. Now you can see that the position of the parent div relative, and position of child div is absolute, and we have to the child is this red, and the yellow box is container. As you can see, yellow here and red here. Okay. Now we have a paragraph tag, and on a click we are going to execute my move function. On a click we are going to execute my my move function. Just give me a little break. Okay. So with once we will click a button, this button click me, it is going to call my move function, and this is a function my move. The logic is here. So what are we doing? Going to do it? We are getting the element by ID animate, that is the bottom child ID, and we are going to get its reference in element variable. Then we are setting a position variable to 0, and then we are clearing the interval. Interval because we are initializing interval, because interval, the concept of interval is that we have to change some values after a specific interval. That's why first of all we will initialize the interval. So we are initializing it with 0, and what is id is null. Here you can see id is null, so we are initializing it by providing it a null value. Now there is a method called set interval. So what we do with this method, in this method the first argument is a function, and the second argument is the interval in milliseconds. So this 5 means 5 milliseconds, and what will happen after 5 milliseconds, this frame function will be called repetitively. Okay, it will be repetitively called after 5 milliseconds. So what is in this frame? This is a function frame, and once this function will be called, the highest p position value is 350. So if the position value will be 350, that will it will reach in to its maximum position, then again the interval will be cleared. So what happens that once the now this red box is placed on position 350, which is the maximum value. Once we will, at this point it is 0 0, and this corner is 50 comma 50, just like coordinates of a graph. 0 0 is this position, and 350 dot comma 350 is this position. So what are we going to do? We are going to increase the value of position. Here you can see element dot style dot top. Position is going to start from 0. So as we start, top is going to get 0 pixel position, and left 0 pixel position, and then this number of position is going to change, as you can see from here, position plus plus increment, and ultimately this frame function will be called after 5 millisecond each, till the time we do not reach to 350 number. Once 350 number will be reached, the clear interval will be called, and because of which set interval method will stop executing. So let me show you it in debug mode. I am pressing this click me, and you can see here is the watch window. Here you can see the position is 0. Now I am going to increase values. As you can see the position of value, here you can see position 6. I am increasing its value. Now it is 15, and you can see box is it's shifting downwards. So if I remove this tag and press the button, you can see the value of position here, right side. Yes, but I am out of the debug mode. That's why it is not showing me. I hope the logic is simple, and logic will be clear to you. How we are animating with JavaScript. The new method is this set interval. This you should know, that you have to call a function. The 5 means 5 millisecond. So whatever name of the function you will provide, it is going to call that function repeatedly after specific provided interval. That is a simple logic. Okay, so any question? Okay, so let's move to some few more examples. Events. Events are again very important, like mouse click, mouse over, etc. A given DOM allows JavaScript to react to HTML events. So, reacting to events. JavaScript can be executed with an event occurs, like when user clicks on an HTML element. To execute a code, when user clicks on the element, add JavaScript code to an HTML event attribute. For example, this is one of the syntax: on click, and then you can call any function, and this syntax can be used with any HTML element. For example, here you can see we are using it with h1 element. So we are using with h1. So whenever we are going to click the text of h1, it on click is going to be executed and its content will be changed. The initial content was click on the text. Once we will click on the text will be replaced with oops. Any question on this slide?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. Similarly, we can add a date. There is a function display date, and with the button we are using on click and we are calling a function display date. And what display date is doing? Display date is replacing the content of the bottom P element with the date, current date time. And here you can see this is going to be printed Pakistan Standard Time, etc. Okay, there are numerous events. I'll just discuss. I'll discuss just few. For example, there are two more. One is on load and other one is on change. So on change event is often used in combination with validation and input fields. तो होगा क्या, जैसे ही आप फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने ये टेक्स्ट फील्ड है, टेक्स्ट फील्ड में आपने कुछ टाइप किया, टाइप करके जैसे ही आप बाहर निकलेंगे, जैसे ही आप बाहर निकलेंगे तो ये ऑन चेंज इवेंट इस टेक्स्ट बॉक्स का ट्रिगर हो जाएगा एंड यू कैन डू सम सॉर्ट ऑफ वैलिडेशन के जी टेक्स्ट डाल दिया या नंबर डाल दिए या कोई स्पेसिफिक चीज़ चेक करनी है तो आप कर सकते हैं. सिमिलरली ऑन लोड और ऑन अनलोड, ये दो तरह के इवेंट हैं, ऑन लोड और ऑन अनलोड. इवेंट्स कैन बी यूज टू डील विद द कुकीज़. तो कुकीज़ बेसिकली हम चेक कर रहे होते हैं कि जी कुछ पेज के साथ कुछ चीज़ें, यूज़र नेम पासवर्ड इस तरह की कुछ चीज़ें सेव तो नहीं करनी पेज के साथ. तो जनरली ये होता है कि जब आप पेज को लोड करते हैं तो उस वक्त आप चेक कर लेते हैं कि कुकीज़ कोई अवेलेबल तो नहीं है. अगर कुकीज़ कोई अवेलेबल है, फॉर एग्जांपल यूज़र नेम पासवर्ड इज़ अ पॉपुलर एग्जांपल ऑफ बीइंग प्लेस्ड इन कुकीज़. तो आप चेक कर लेते हैं कि चेक कुकीज़ पेज लोड होते वक्त कि यूज़र नेम पासवर्ड ऑलरेडी इस पेज से एसोसिएटेड पहले से कहीं लोडेड पड़ा हुआ तो नहीं है. पड़ा हुआ है तो वो उसको लोड कर लेगा. उससे ये है कि यूज़र को दोबारा यूज़र नेम पासवर्ड अपना डालना नहीं पड़ेगा. ये इस तरह थोड़ा सा यूज़र को फैसिलिटेट करने के लिए कुकीज़ यूज़ करते हैं. सो वी कैन यूज़ दिस मेथड टू check whether there are any related cookies saved for particular page. So this is an example of three more events: onload, on, and on unload is once we will be closing our page, then it will be unload. Okay, so few more. You can go through few more events, and the link is provided. Okay, so let's have 5 minutes break. Then we will resume. It is 5:54. We will resume at 6.